Because you've got to take an interest. It's a vote, and we have a democratic right. There's a duty to do it properly.
Because I think local democracy is really important, and I'm a Green Party supporter.
I am really interested in a lot of local issues, feel quite involved with them, and I've got some questions for the councillors. Now, I've already cast my vote, I'm not here to be convinced.
Right, okay.
I'm here to ask the councillors some questions.
The litter, the leaves aren't cleared, people are paying too much in rates, and it's time that we got rid of the socialists that run the city council here.
Like more families here, and for it to be the great family area that I think it is.
The compromises of trying to live in a nice environment, and yet we live in a busy economic world, and it's trying to match business needs to residents' needs to traffic needs to, and all with less and less money.
We all know that for many years that there have been government cuts, and these have impacted on Newcastle, and they have very much restricted services, and in the last year they've disproportionately restricted them in Jesmond Ward, which has had to face cuts rather greater than other wards in the city. So it's clearly going to be very difficult to do the things we want to do.
Cuts have to be made, it's that simple, but services do not have to be cut. Over the years we've seen the closure of the swimming pool saved by the residents, the library saved by the residents. And you may laugh and you may snigger, but the council is currently 602 million in the red, the interest payments alone are 22 million, yet the Labour controlled council is going to spend £45 million on revamping the civic centre. I think that money could be saved and better spent elsewhere.
The real issue really is about engagement. How do we engage any community in a time of austerity and cuts? We have to be creative, and we have to think of reaching out in ways that are meaningful. If people feel involved in a meeting and feel that they can influence the agenda, then they have a sense of ownership over the problem.
I think there is some scope for flexibility supporting smaller businesses. Having said that, so there is that, and that's something we need to look at, and I think it's particularly smaller businesses starting off to give people a foot on the ladder. That's important, and we can look more into that. But I also think we need to regard businesses as part of our community, just as other residents are.
Obviously, independent traders are really important to the local economy, but also they tend to be more environmentally friendly. But I think more important is sort of there isn't the exposure that I think independent businesses need in Jesmond.
The lesson of Acorn Road is engage with people from the outset and make it meaningful. There was a lot of kerfuffle and political disarray, I think, around the engagement process, but what the result has been, I think, has been positive.
The environment of Acorn Road has clearly improved. There is a lot of clutter around, which must handicap visually impaired people, and there is a lot of trouble at the junction with Osborne Road.
It's all very well the Greens banging on about let's cycle, let's walk everywhere. When you are disabled, right, and when you are old, like my mother who's 82, who has had a hip operation, is due another hip operation, the car is the only way to get around. And that generation are going nowhere near Acorn Road or around the area.
The vast majority of people tell me they are pleased with improvements to Acorn Road. I think it is a good demand. It's the wider flat pavements. It is much better for disabled people or people with children in pushchairs.
I think we've got some beautiful green space, but not enough of it. We've got Branding Park, Jesmond Dean is very close by, but in the hub of Jesmond, I think we could do a lot more to create seating areas, leisure facilities, places for mothers, fathers, the older generation to sit, to reflect, and to enjoy Jesmond.
In the streets, 8 streets from Highbury to Brentwood Avenue, there are no children. The mix has changed and is changing, and I think we could perhaps look at a target of getting it down to 50-50 in 5 years' time, particularly, as Felicity said, in the streets where 95% of the population is students.
Okay. I think, yeah, on individual streets it's much better to have a balance and see students integrated in the community, and that's what I think so much more could be done on. Like, as councillors, we could really engage with those students.
Ask any student you walk past, mention the word landlord, and you will get a 15-minute rant about how horrific their landlord is. There is a massive issue. Shella mentioned Acorn. They've got an ethical charter which is actually really, really good. It's sort of a landlord sign up to, it's like gold, silver and bronze, and they have to follow a certain set of rules and sign up to that essentially, which is a really, really, really good scheme.
My opinion of the landlords, particularly when they're regulated by the letting agencies, is that they're not actually doing a bad job.
We are putting legislation through at the moment to go that gives the power to local authorities to prosecute rogue landlords. And I have seen some shocking property in Newcastle by rogue landlords, not just here in Jesmond,